Alright, welcome back to Storming Out's Gaming. I'm going to show you how to stam Warden. Maybe you've always wanted to learn how to use it. Maybe you don't understand the passives. Maybe, you have played other classes and you're wanting to play a stam Warden. It's kind of finicky in a way. They're powerful. Everybody knows that. But to use it effectively, you have to fully understand the class. Everybody knows that. So, first off, I'm going to show you that I'm just running like New Moon, Eternal Vigor, Balorgs. I'm a two-hander main bar. Gonna go over passives and skills first. Animal Companion's passive. Anytime one of them ends, you get a 1300 point heal. So whenever you're spamming your bull netch, to purge dots off, you're getting that 1300 point heal every time. It's a small little heal, but it saves you from your resources on having to pop a vigor in low resource situations. When you cast an Animal Companion ability, you do gain 4 ultimate. This can happen every 8 seconds. So, Bull Netch, your Subterranean Assault, your bird if you use it, gives you ult. You do get a Magicka and Stamina Recovery for every Animal Companion ability that is slotted, or for an Animal Companion ability being slotted. Let me correct myself. As long as you have one on the bar, you get 12% increased recovery. Your damage done is increased for every companion ability on the bar. So, if say I go to back bar, I've got 2%. I've only got the bull netch. If I go to front bar, got the Subterranean Assault, the Bird of Prey, and if I chose to use the bird, actual cutting dive, that'd be another 2%, so it'd be a 6% damage increase. Feral Guardian, stamina builds really don't use that, and even then Magicka builds, they really don't use it. Reason being is, it dies too quick. Doesn't hit hard enough. Takes too long to cast. It's gotta be double barred. That's why. Cutting dive. I don't see many Magicka builds use the Magicka version of this, but stamina version wise, if you're using dual wield for example, you'll throw a bird into what do you call it? They changed it. I know it used to be the Steel Tornado Whirling Blades. So this is undodgeable. It's not gonna miss. Only thing they can really do is block it. So that's why a lot of Wardens, especially in group play, they're running dual wield. Subterranean Assault, gonna be your source of major fracture. It is an AoE, and this is your main source of burst as well. If you don't have these going off, you're wrong. You are gonna time your burst with this. It takes 3 seconds. So, show you. You're gonna hit this, and you can heavy attack into a Donnie. You can do that into a D-swing. You can do that into a bird. Whenever you're just passively fighting people, even if it's 3 or 4 people, you're gonna have these be popping off. You don't have to be right up on them. You can hit 4 or 5 people just from that distance. Growing Swarm. People mainly use this for the 8% minor vulnerability. It is a very strong dot. So, and enemies that are near that initial target will take dot damage as well every 2 seconds. So it's pretty nice. Handful of people use it, especially in group play. It's mainly used. Bull Netch, going to be giving you your stam back, your major brutality, and your major sorcery. On top of that, every 5 seconds, it's going to be removing a negative effect from you. So that's why whenever you see, like, you plant a dot on a warden or something like that, they're doing this, because it's removing a negative effect every time. It's giving you a small little heal every time. Bird of Prey. Source of major expedition for 6 seconds. And while slotted, gives you minor berserk. What I tend to do is, I'll line up my burst, say that's the guy, and I'm far away. I'll come in with a Donnie. Real quick, T-bone them, you know, they don't see it coming. Green balance. Skeletal growth. Whenever you heal yourself or an ally under 40% health with a green balance ability, you gain major mending. For 3 seconds, increasing your healing done by 25%. When you heal an ally with a green balance ability, you gain 250 magicka or stamina, whichever resource pool is lower. This can happen every second. Increasing your healing done with green balance abilities by 2% for each one slotted. So like on that bar, I have 4%. When you activate a heal on yourself or an ally, you grant the target minor toughness, increasing their max health by 10% for 20 seconds. This is why they're used in group play. Especially when not all of them are wardens. If you have 2 wardens, you're always going to have this buff up at all times. Much less with 1 warden, it's still up most of the time. 10% max health is quite a big deal. But to say the least, obviously these passives are telling you, you know, it's a source of sustain and constant burst heals. So Healing Thicket, 90 ult, good heal over time, and hits all your allies and all that. The other morph will give you ult back if they're below 50% health. This one lasts longer and provides a heal over time even after it's done. Soothing Spores, little burst heal, heals 15% on allies that are further than 8 meters, or within 8 meters of your Soothing Spore. Healing Seed, that's mainly used on magical classes. I have seen some Stam Wardens use it. It's called Corrupting Pollen for the other morph. And it's going to give everybody Major Defile that's in the area good little burst heal. Time off after 6 seconds. Like, your allies can synergize it for the instant heal. Leeching Vines, this is one that Stam Wardens do use. And consider it like a heal over time, but it's based off how many enemies are around you. So this will hit the lowest health ally or yourself for 10 seconds. Vines heal the target for 835 each time they take damage. So while you're taking damage, you're getting 835 point heal. Can occur every second. They also apply minor lifesteal to the enemy that damage the target for 10 seconds. So everybody that's hit you now get minor lifesteal on them. If your allies come in to help you, then for the next 10 seconds, it's going to give a 624 point heal just for damaging those said enemies that have hit you. So in total, it's going to be giving you a 1400, 1500 point heal every second. Just for hitting the target that's hitting you. Green Lotus. Embrace the blessing of the Lotus, causing your light attacks to restore 1426 health and your fully charged heavy attacks to restore 4282 health to you or a nearby ally for 20 seconds. There's a lot of off heals going on with as many green balance abilities as that you use passively. Only one that really is used as single target, and even then, I've saved teammates' lives with Soothing Spores. Be surprised how hard that hits when they're under 40% health and you hit them with 2 Soothing Spores. This does give you a source of major savagery for the next 20 seconds. But it is a nice heal over time that you can, you know, fire and forget. It's going to be giving you that 1400 health for light attacks and 4282 for heavy attacks. You're going to light and heavy it your heavy attacks are going to hit whether you think about it or not. You're always heavy attacking into a D-swing or into a whirlwind or into a Donnie. You're trying to maximize that damage. You're trying to hit people with the off balance and stun them. That little bit of heavy attack and, 4,200 point heal could make or break whether you stay alive or not. That's not even counting the fact of how many times you're light attacking. There's a lot of dots going on. And those light attacks, on top of like Leeching Vines, for example, will heal you enough that you ain't got to worry about the dots. And by then, your bull niche is going to have it purged off. Moving on into Winter's Embrace. Glacial Presence. Increase the chance of applying shield to enemies with Winter's Embrace abilities by 200%. Bear in mind, Nords cannot be chilled. They are immune to chilled status effect. By chilled status effect, that is, if I'm correct, minor maim, and it roots them. Enemies and allies who take recently... let me reread that. Enemies and allies who have recently been chilled take 10% more critical damage and healing from you. So, enemies are going to be taking more critical damage because you've chilled them. Just with the Warden. Your allies, if they've been chilled by a Warden or a Mag Warden or whatever it may be, is going to be getting healed 10% more. You got a Warden in your group, it benefits not to be a Nord. Or, if you are a Nord, you're just not going to be chilled. So there's that. Increases your physical and spell resistance by 500 for each Winter's Embrace ability slotted. So back bar, I get 1,000. Front bar, I'm getting 9. That's why this is my defensive bar. This is my offensive bar. This is the effectiveness of snares applied to you by 15%. Always nice. There's a lot of snares going on. Increases your magic and frost damage by 10%. On a stamina warden, this doesn't matter too much, but it is a nice little benefit. It's mainly a group play skill. Twist a violent storm around you, 2,561 frost damage every second for 12 seconds. Enemies around you, and reducing their movement speed by 70% and applying the chilled status effect. So, 70% snare, good damage over time, and you're applying chilled status effect to everyone in this area. Now let's add in, you and all the allies get major protection, reducing the damage taken by 30%, all in that area. You're locking them down, you're firing off all your ults, all of you are protected with 30% damage reduction. It's a glorious skill. It really is. Especially if you can time it off when you know there's an incoming bomb or there's a necro ult going off or whatever it may be. That 30% reduction in damage could make or break whether you wipe or not. Ice Fortress, wrap it around you and your allies. Very misconstrued skill. It's, again, why they're great in group play. Because there's been so many times I've been low on resources or my allies have been low on resources when I've been on my Warden. And this ability is constantly keeping all of our resistances up. 24-second buff for physical and spell resistance. It has a radius of 8 meters. I gain minor protection whenever I have it up for the next 24 seconds. That's why we don't slot Temporal Guard or Ransack or something like that. It's because we already have it just through our main buff. So it would be a wasted skill slot. That being said, though, this hits all the allies in the area. If I've got 5 allies like right next to me in a circle, all of them are getting it. They will all get that resistance buff. Not saying they shouldn't be casting their own resistances. They get buffs for casting their own resistances that coincide with their own passives. Say you're in combat, you know, a high combat situation. There's little seconds here or there, little phases here or there that you're going to be letting your buffs drop off. And this just increases the fact that you're always going to have your resistances up. Two-hander. D-swing. You know, everybody who plays with a two-hander, that's your main burst skill. Off balance. Adds a little bit more damage. Stuns them. Snares them. Always nice. Reverse slice. Just switch back. Do the next patch. It's finally going to be fixed again. Although if the AoE patches go through, or AoE changes go through, I may go back to Executioner. Rally. Burst heal. Increase stam recovery. One-handed shield. You can use spell wall if you want to instead of using the tree ult. Here's heroic slash if you want to. But when you're on your back bar, you know, it's increasing your block, or the amount of damage you can block by 20%. You know, it's reducing the cost of blocking, bash cost, bash damage, projectile damage, movement speed while blocking, on top of being able to heal and all that. That's why people run sword and board, is so that way they can block and heal at the same time and get past that threshold. I've seen some people use the bow. I'm not a big fan of the bow. Dual wield, only ability you're really going to use if you choose to use a dual wield over a two-hander. Whirling blades. That's about it. So, I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. I like to use cutting dive whenever I use my dual wield. I almost forgot. I also use Growing Swarm. So, yeah, obviously cast all your buffs, you know, these are your heals over time. Off balance into a heavy attack, Subterranean. You know, just keep up the pressure. The Subterranean is going to fire off wherever you want it to. Wherever you put that reticle. So, you're just sitting here putting in damage. You're taking a lot of pressure. You're waiting to go in, and then you see your opportunity. That's what you're going to do. You know, drop your Donnie into a Whirling Blade and move on. This does apply bleed. So, first one's off balance. Second, or, let me make sure that's right. I think it might have just been on a timer. Yeah, it was just on the timer. Okay, so they're off balance, right? So that one would be off balance. That one would be a bleed. And that's whenever you can come in here, heavy attack into a Whirling Blade. Alright. Continuing on, I just wanted to hit that point real quick because earlier I did not go over the dual wield. And dual wield is a large portion of the community on Warden. A lot of the AoE, undodgeable, all that. That's why a lot of people use dual wield. I prefer the two-hander just because it adds that little bit of extra one-on-one pressure that Wardens lack. Impaling Shards, mainly used on mag Wardens. I rarely see it on stam Wardens, unless it's like a health tank or something. As you can see, it does scale off your max health. Arctic Blast. The other morph scales off your max health as well. It is mainly just a heal. This one is a heal and a stun. Gets that little bit of pressure off of you. You know, Instantly healing for 4,500 health and additional 541 health every second for 5 seconds. When the effect persists, the wind pulses outwards, dealing 954 frost damage every second to nearby enemies. Enemies hit by this effect 3 times are stunned for 4 seconds. Not to say they can't block it. They can sit there and keep doing damage while blocking and be on top of you. I do it all the time. I'll see someone cast this ability and I'll just keep on my damage rotation while holding block. Just so that way I don't get stunned by this. Shimmering Shield, absorbing up to 27,982 damage from 3 projectiles. Each time you absorb a projectile, you restore 872 magicka. Gain major heroism for 6 seconds, granting you 3 ultimate every 1.5 seconds. Ult gain, magicka sustain, and reduction of projectile damage. You can still be stunned by this. If someone throws a Templar Spear, it will absorb it. You will get your major heroism and the magicka sustain, but you will be flat on your ass. Frozen Gate, kind of a group skill as well. Can be quite interesting using this skill. One morph will teleport enemies, the other morph will teleport allies. So, if you choose to use it, it can make for some interesting situations. I've seen it in Cyrodiil. I've been saved by it. I've bombed people because of it. It's a pretty nice skill. Go ahead and go back to my two-hander bar. Alright, so my main defensive rotation with this, say I'm taking a lot of pressure, right? Now I'm obviously going to cast that. Hits for 10 seconds. This hits for 5. This hits for 5. Make sure all the pressure's in. Now, if say I'm taking a huge amount of pressure where I'm actually having to stay defensive, I'm going to sit here and keep holding block. Cast my tree ult and actually start putting in pressure so that way I can get them off of me. Sometimes your best defense is your offense. This alone though counts for that major mending. So whenever you're sitting there healing and you dip below 40% health, it will proc off the major mending for the next 3 seconds. If you choose to run Green Lotus, it'll do that. As soon as you dip below 40% health and you do a light attack, it'll proc that major mending passive. Soothing Spore, same thing. You know, it's such a high stam cost. I treat it like Dragon Blood. I really do. Because as soon as you dip below 40% health, it hits hard. So I'm below 40, I'm just gonna go boom, boom. As you can see, it hits in a cone. Very narrow cone though. You know, it's like, if I can actually go over the water and you can see it. Very narrow. Further they are out though, the more you get hit by it. If they're within the 8-meter radius though, they get 15% more healing. That does apply to you. Whenever Bull Netch, whenever Fortress, whenever that, whenever Soothing Spore, Vigor. I really only cast the Fletcher Flies if there's multiple people there, or if it's a tanky target. Other than that, your bread and butter is going to be your Subterranean and your bird, swappable with D-Swing. If you're trying to run Elude, I really don't feel like having this ability on your bar is worth it if you're running Elude. because you have two sources of major expedition at that point. That's why I don't run a loot. If you really wanted the major expedition, I'd just keep the bird of prey on. If you're wanting the actual AoE damage reduction, go with shuffle. Gonna completely eliminate the snares on top of utilizing the most buffs possible. Alt-wise, for offensive bar, you can go with Onslaught. Thing with Onslaught is like the more penetration you have, the less hard it's gonna hit. So if you're running Spriggans and you get Subterranean Assault, for example, Subterranean Assault already fractures, and Spriggans is already penetrating through armor. This scales off how much it's penetrated. So you're not gonna hit as hard as running a Donnie. If you choose to run Permafrost, that's on you. I just wouldn't run the dual wield ult. Don't really have many options. Like, that's the only two I would really pick, is either Donnie, Permafrost, or Onslaught. You can use Silver Bolts. I've seen people do that. Or Circle Protection. People will have hit their Subterranean, dropped the Circle, then dropped a Donnie. Seen that. Camouflage Hunter is swappable with your Bird of Prey. Give you a source of major savagery. You hit them on the flank, 8% damage done. They just use it as a passive, not as a skill. You are going to increase your weapon damage by 3% for each fighter's guild ability slotted. So Donnie mixed with your animal companion abilities equals big damage. 9 ultimate for killing undead, Daedro, or werewolves. Does count towards killing vampire players, werewolf players. Fighter's guild abilities deal additional 20% damage. There's a lot of vampires and werewolves. Donnie's going to hit hard this patch. Next patch, still going to hit hard. People are still running vampire. They're still running werewolf. There's still lots of pet sorts running around. No reason not to use it, in my opinion. Can stress, as a PvP player, you're going to be getting a lot of ult gain. You know, you're going to be getting all of these, especially this assault tree passives. Going to be getting these quite a bit. 10% weapon, spell damage, stamina recovery, mag recovery, just for capturing a keeper lumber mill. Ability, any ability with a range greater than 28 meters gets their range increased by 5 meters. So, bow skills, I think the cutting dive as well, let me make sure. Yeah, cutting dive gets another 5 meters on it then. And of course, you know, I really don't use magic recovery. Low on skill points, so I said no. Healing done near a keep, 20% when you're near a keep. Reduce the time it takes to resurrect another player. If you don't have these and you're trying to PvP, have them. Being a Nord, that's why everybody has been choosing Nord. You know, you're getting max health, cold resistance by 2300, gain immunity to shield status effect, max stam, 5 ult every 10 seconds. And a little bit extra resistances after they just nerfed the resistances and the healing. So, you know, close to 4,000 resistances is really nice. Alright. Questions, comments, concerns? Go ahead and plant them down below. I'll upload this one to YouTube.